Our News4JAX team's covering a number of angles on that search. We start with News4JAX anchor Vic Micolucci near Mayport Marina. Vic.
Hey, Bruce, people have not given up hope out here. There is still that thought that these two men are going to be found and brought home safely today. So we are near the Mayport Marina. That's where the command post is for Jacksonville Fire and Rescue. We're also not too far from the Coast Guard checkpoint, Sector Mayport here, and they are working very hard around the clock to do everything they can to find these two public servants, these firefighters, and bring them back to shore safely. As you said, 24-foot center console. They launched that out of Port Canaveral on Friday, but experts believe that they're likely possibly in this area off the coast of Jacksonville and the beaches because of the Gulf Stream, because of the currents. Now, to give us a little bit more perspective, I want to bring in Burke Bell. He is our captain for the day. We are aboard a Freedom Boat Club vessel, and you're one of the managers with Freedom. Obviously, a lot of experience out on the water. This is a difficult situation. But you said the conditions do appear to be good today for a search.
The conditions are looking good, Vic. The weather is obviously holding out, and the surf and waves seem to be in good shape, so I think that'll help the searchers out there.
Let's talk about visibility. I can see far into the distance. That's also a good thing because over the weekend we had some time when it was rainy, when it was overcast.
Exactly.
That's not helpful. Today, better.
Today looks really good. I don't think there's a lot that can hinder the search crews out there, and I think you couldn't ask for much better than this.
With the current, are we thinking that a lot of the search crews are going to be out 40, 50 miles offshore where the Gulf Stream is?
That's what it's looking like right now. I'm not sure exactly which currents are available right now to us, but I think that's what they're talking about doing.
And the good news is these are two men that are experienced, they're well-trained in safety, in first aid. They seem to know what they were doing when it came to being out on the water. And that's the reason that people are so optimistic.
That's correct. Yeah, I think if anyone could handle this, it's these guys.
Okay. Burke Bell, thank you so much for joining us. And once again, we are aboard this Freedom Boat Club vessel, which is fairly similar to the center console type boat that these two men went out on Friday. We're going to go offshore a couple of miles, check in with some of the search crews, the boaters, and see what they are doing, what they're looking for, and how the public can continue to help. It is a difficult time for Jacksonville Fire and Rescue. Obviously a tight-knit family. They're doing a lot to stay together and really just hold on to hope that today is the day that those two men will be brought home safely. So we are live in the water now. Want to send it to the land at the Mayport boat ramp. My colleague Zach Lajway standing by. He has been there all morning long. And Zach, I know in about 13 minutes you're going to get an update from the chief with JFRD.
The crews have totaled more than 24,000 miles in the air and on the water from Port Canaveral all the way to the Carolinas. News4JAX reporter Vic Micolucci is joining us live from Marine 4 off the coast of Mayport. So, Vic, what are you hearing now from investigators?
We've been checking in with them every couple of hours, Tark, and right now they say they do have a little bit more information after finding that tackle bag 50 miles off the coast of St. Augustine, which Justin, his wife, confirms is his. Still, this is a long and meticulous search. We went offshore. Right now we're at the Mayport jetties coming in, but we were offshore for a couple of hours today. And the good news was the weather conditions were much better than they had been over the weekend. So we had more visibility, less chop. They're looking for a 24-foot center console with these two firefighters on it. It could be anywhere. That's why they are searching from St. Augustine to Brunswick, Georgia, up to 60 miles off the shore. We have seen the firefighters come and go. You're looking at video from our Sky 4 helicopter right now. And I want to talk about the conditions. This is Captain Burke Bell with the Freedom Boat Club. We have been out with your company all day. You said conditions are the best so far.
Yeah, so far, from what I know of the search conditions over the weekend, this is by far the best we've had. The visibility was really good. Chop was fairly low. So that definitely helps with the search.
Burke, each hour that goes on, it gets less and less optimistic, but people are still holding out hope. You're an experienced boater. You said a safe return is very likely.
I think so. These guys are very well trained. They seem to have a great boating background. So as long as they've got some good safety equipment, I think they'll be fine.
Okay. Burke Bell with Freedom Boat Club, thank you so much. And certainly that is being echoed by the fellow firefighters, by family members, people here in the community as they look for Justin and Brian. Very, very concerned about their safety as the sun will be setting in just a few hours. But right now I can tell you the majority of the boats, about 35 to 40 private boats, are still out there. We have seen Jacksonville fire rescue boats coming and going. We have seen Coast Guard. We've also seen a Coast Guard helicopter. We know their planes are up there, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection, just to name some of the resources out here. So certainly people are putting forth a lot of effort. We have seen a couple boats with firefighters coming on. They look very concerned. They look very beaten down. But talking to them, they tell me they're still optimistic that this story will have a happy ending. Of course, we'll keep you posted, and we have live reports at 5 and 6 o'clock. For now, we are offshore with the Freedom Boat Club. I'm Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.
Before sunrise, dozens of boaters were back on the water to join those search efforts. Our Sky 4 flew over the Mayport boat ramp where teams set off on their mission. News for Jax reporter Vic Michelucci spent the past few hours offshore and joins us live. Vic, when we saw you at 4 o'clock, you were with a boater who had that same positive energy going.
Yeah, people are remaining optimistic no matter how long this search goes. Joy, as you said this morning, they left as the sun was coming up. Many of them are still offshore, working tirelessly to find these two men. They're holding on to hope, no matter how difficult the conditions are. Dozens of boats heading out offshore this morning. Another day of a long and meticulous search for the two missing firefighters and their boat. Jacksonville firefighter and paramedic Brian McClooney and his friend Justin Walker, a firefighter from Virginia, haven't been heard from since Friday when they launched out of Port Canaveral.
These guys are well trained. They know what they're doing. We're hoping they've got this under control.
We are covering the search from our Sky 4 helicopter and Marine 4 aboard with the Freedom Boat Club.
There's always hope. There's always hope for these guys.
Burke Bell taking us on the water to see the conditions for search and rescue crews. We too are looking for these missing firefighters offshore. They are actually on a center console boat very similar to this one. It's 24 feet long and it has a bimini T-top just like this, which makes it stand out of the water 8 to 9 feet. And that is a good thing for search and rescue crews who are scanning the horizon. Also, the weather is helpful today. Over the weekend, it wasn't great. Today is the best yet we can see for miles into the distance. We saw fireboats as well as private ones taking part in the search, combing the area from St. Augustine to Brunswick, up to 60 miles off the shore. The Coast Guard, the lead search crew, flying helicopters and planes. They're getting help from U.S. Customs, police, and private aircraft, all remaining optimistic that the missing boaters will be found soon.
I think it has a good chance. The Coast Guard, these guys searching, they're professionals. They know what they're doing.
And a lot of people have been asking us, how can they help? Well, if you have a boat, you can contact JFRD or the Coast Guard. See if you can go offshore and be a part of that. These firefighters and these volunteers are paying for their own fuel and they're using personal vessels. So if you want to help chip in, pay for some of their gas because it is getting expensive as the hours go on, you can contact JFRD. We've posted a link to their donation page on our website, news4jax.com. We're live tonight. I'm Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.
But we're going to go to Vic Michelucci, who spent the day offshore with boaters searching for the men. Vic, dozens of volunteers helped with today's search efforts out there.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those people, Joy, giving their time, their resources, their fuel, and of course their money to be out here and bring these two men back to shore safely. Of course, that is the goal. The conditions have been tough over the weekend. Today, things were a little bit better. Now, as the sun starts to go down, a lot of these boats and volunteers are coming back to shore, but many of them say they'll return tomorrow.
There's a whole lot of ocean out there. We just covered just a tiny speck of it today.
It is an enormous task, but 150 volunteers with 36 boats are hoping they can be the ones to find missing firefighters Brian McClooney and Justin Walker. Our Sky 4 helicopter was flying overhead as an army of volunteers, many fellow first responders, headed offshore this morning.
Today they started off a little better. It was smooth and not a lot of wind. It's got a little choppier out there.
We spent the day on Marine 4 with the Freedom Boat Club and our captain, Burke Bell.
Visibility wasn't a problem. These rain bands may hinder that a little bit, but right now it's still looking good.
We are about 6 miles off the coast of Atlantic Beach right now, and today is the best yet when it comes to the search conditions. The water is fairly calm, just a little bit of chop, and the visibility is pretty good. We can see several miles into the distance. Out there is a naval destroyer, and then you have some merchant marines, barges, and tankers that are coming in from offshore. The hope is they possibly might spot this boat or some debris and then call authorities. We spotted a JFRD boat, Coast Guard vessels, and their helicopter. Just a small glimpse at the massive government response.
There's always hope. There's always hope for these guys.
And I want to give you some perspective here. This is not the exact same type of boat, but it is very similar. It is a center console fishing boat. In fact, this one is 24 feet long, just like the boat the two missing firefighters were on. You can see this large T-top. It lets it stand out about 8 to 9 feet above the water, and that is good news because you can see it from at least a mile or two away. So for these people that are out there, the volunteers, the search and rescue crews, they can scan the horizon, they can look for a T-top like this, possibly an antenna, which would give it a couple more feet. And that is something that firefighters and rescue crews are asking people to keep an eye out. Even if you are on shore, you might still see some debris, you might still see something. So if you don't have a boat, if you don't have the resources, you can look from the beach and the inlets for anything out of the ordinary. We're live tonight. I'm Vic Micolucci, Channel 4, the local station.